While I certainly understand why there's concern around using data online, especially with all of the high-profile breaches that have happened recently, it's really important to understand the difference between using data for good and using data for bad. When used properly and when used for good, subscriber data can actually keep users much safer than they would otherwise be if this data was not used to protect their accounts. A perfect example of this is with the SIM swap attack. SIM swaps are actually quite easy to identify given the right type of data from carriers. So just checking when was this SIM last swapped is a really good way to stop this type of attack and is a great example of subscriber data being used to keep that subscriber much safer than they would be without the data. Businesses need to be sure that they use this data with proper guidelines in place. The General Data Protection Regulation, otherwise known as GDPR, went into effect in May of 2018. It's really important to understand that as part of this, the right to privacy is a fundamental right, and that the GDPR's sanctions-based regime was created to protect that right. Trust is at the heart of acting as a responsible corporate citizen and is essential to the success of online businesses. In recognizing the importance of this trust, we must all be committed to the security and privacy of this information and make sure that it is gathered with the utmost care and that it's used in the most responsible way possible. The data I've been discussing here today all requires some level of consent from the end user. Consent is typically collected in order to complete the online registration or the two-factor authentication or use the data in some other way that otherwise benefits the user. It's really important for businesses to understand that there are 3 different types of consent that can be collected from a user: implied consent, implicit consent, and explicit consent. Implied consent typically entails a user providing their personal information such as email or phone number in order to establish a relationship with the business. In this case, the consent is typically contained in the business's terms of service. Implicit consent means that the user provides their personal information and they are also shown a consent link or consent language in the place that they're providing this information. Explicit consent requires that a user tick a checkbox indicating that they know what data is being collected and exactly how it will be used. At Telesign, we have a team dedicated to making sure that our clients know exactly what type of consent needs to be collected in which case. Our team helps ensure that this data is handled properly and with the utmost trust and security for your users, so you can take advantage of this powerful data quickly and without concern.